Hello everyone, I am Arij Al-Shamrani, a second year PhD student from Monash University. My research topic is on franchise contracts and specifically the influence of contract dimensions on franchise performance. Before I start, I want to explain a bit why I'm interested in franchising. Unfortunately, franchising is relatively underdeveloped in Saudi Arabia, and for that reason, I wanted to understand more what makes franchising more successful and what can help it grow and expand. For countries like Saudi Arabia that wants to diversify its economy and to create more job opportunities, franchising can be the answer. If we look at other countries, for example, the US, where franchising is very well established, in 2017, franchising has provided 7.6 million direct jobs. It has also contributed around 404 billion US dollars to the GDP. It's also very significant in Australia. There is around 80,000 individual franchise outlets. These outlets has contributed around 146 billion annual sales turnover, which makes up around 9% of the Australian GDP. But what is franchising? Well, if we look at all these brands, which we all know at least some of them, they have one thing in common. These brands are franchise systems. What does that mean? It means that these brands do not operate all of their outlets, but some of their outlets are operated by independent franchisees. So these are individuals that have purchased the right to use the brand name and its business formula in exchange of paying fees and royalties to the franchisor. And because the franchisor isn't running these outlets, it is important to ensure compliance from the franchisees and ensure that they perform well to protect the brand. One way to ensure that franchisees are performing is through contracts, which is a governance mechanism. So contracts or contractual governance is the degree to which formal contract is implemented in established exchanges. In this case, the exchange between a franchisor and a franchisee. In contractual governance literature, there is two distinct streams of research. The first one is looking at the contract as a whole. So is using contract effective and have positive effect on performance or not? The second stream looks at specific structure of the contract, so different dimension inside the contract and how they affect relationship factors such as satisfaction. There is lack of studies that look at how the contract dimensions affect performance, where my research comes in. So I'm interested in looking how contract dimensions influence franchisor performance. The dimensions that I'm looking at are 5 different dimensions that have been conceptually developed by Argyris and Mayer in 2007, but yet to be empirically tested. These are decision control, roles and responsibility, coordination, dispute resolution, and contingency adaptability. Each of these dimensions play a different role in the contract. Contingency adaptability, for instance, relates to the emergencies that could happen during the relationship and during running this outlet and how to handle these emergencies. So my conceptual framework is then looking at these 5 dimensions and how they affect 2 performance outcomes. The first one is financial performance, and the second one is growth, or the ability to expand and open additional outlets. My data will be collected from US franchises because they are open for the public through state regulatory authority. My sample will be 400 franchises, and I will collect 2 consecutive years worth of data from each franchise. I hope for my research to provide both theoretical and managerial implications. For theoretical implication, I hope it uncovers the differential effects of contract dimensions, so how each dimension affect differently, and provide insights on how these dimensions affect performance. I also want to contribute to the debate of the effectiveness of contract as a governance mechanism. Managerially, I hope that it allows franchisors to draft more effective contracts by focusing on the dimensions that help them achieve their strategy or goal. So if the franchisor wants to achieve growth goal, they can look at the dimensions that affect growth positively. And that brings us to the end of my presentation. Thank you, everyone.